What if there was a tried and tested way to move away from the tyranny of a busy, non-stop mind to a place that feels quieter and more spacious and more freeing? It turns out that the ancient practice of yogic science has given us like a detailed step-by-step pathway of how to move from that busy mind into a state of awakened consciousness. And even better than that, it's not yet another thing that we need to achieve in our practice or our lives. It's actually a coming back to that which has already been innately there. So welcome to the Bindu Institute of Learning. My name is Lucy McCarthy, and I'm one of the lead faculty teaching. And in this video, I thought we'd explore some of the embodied practices within yogic science that really helps us have practical, palpable tools that help us to work with the mind. When we look at some of the ancient yogic texts, there's a famous one, they said, attributed to an author called Patanjali, called Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And right at the beginning, in one of the most famous early sutras, 1.2, in the ancient language of India, Sanskrit, it says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And this essentially translates to yoga, or the state of yoga arises when there is a stilling or a cessation or a quietening of the fluctuations of the mind. And so what yogic science has given us is a tried and tested methodology where we move away from that incessant movement of the mind and we slowly step down into a quieter space where we connect back to this innate higher consciousness. So let's go ahead and have a little embodied play with this. Find yourself into a comfortable, tall seat, either sat up on the ground or on a chair, but allow the spine to be nice and tall. Let your facial muscles relax, let your eyes comfortably soften to a close. And just take a moment right at the beginning of this practice to consciously withdraw the tentacles of your awareness away from the external world, from external sensory, into instead redirecting them into the inner space of your inner landscape, your inner world. And first of all, just softly bring your attention to your mind, to your mental field, and see if you can just notice any busyness, any movement, any fluctuations within your mind in this present moment. Without judgment, just simply observing. And now take your attention from the mind and gently take it by the hand and let your attention, your awareness start to come on to the natural movement of your breath. And see if you can just simply observe and let your attention linger on the rising and the falling of the inhalation, followed by the exhalation. And then begin to see if you can feel into, to stay with, just for a moment, these little kind of pockets or doorways or little momentary pauses at the top and the bottom of the breath. So the next time you find yourself at the full top of an inhale, just see if you can sense that momentary cessation, that little pause, that little hiatus, before naturally following the exhalation until you breathe out fully and just pause, feel into that space, that doorway, that portal. And just stay with this, following your breath over and over, anchoring and tethering your attention onto those little moments of spontaneous cessation of flow at the top and bottom of the breath. And this is an ancient yogic practice that has been practiced for thousands of years. And it's said in these little momentary pauses at the top and the bottom of the breath, there lies magic. There lies the capacity for us just for a moment to glimpse into this quiet, vast spaciousness of awakened consciousness. And spending little moments in this awakened consciousness gives us a hiatus from the busy mind. So keep following the breath, the yogic guidance as we move from the fluctuations. Slowly we give the mind a tether, an anchor of following the breaths, being with the gaps between the breaths. And little by little that begins to cultivate a capacity for concentration. And then after a while, that sustained concentration begins to shift us into a meditative state, where they talk about our capacity to be absorbed in a single point of focus, what they refer to as an ekagrata, a single point of focus. So just for about a moment or two longer, stay lingering with your single point of focus, being on the breath, and being on those spontaneous gaps, those doorways at the bottom and the top of the breath. And then gently you can release the focus of the breath and just once more return your attention to your mind, to your mental field. And just notice if there's any differentiated sensation, whether the mind has slowed down somewhat, those fluctuations have leveled out maybe even a little bit. And then when you're ready, you can very gently release the practice and let the eyes open, let the day, the external world back in. So what's so beautiful about these ancient practices within the yogic science is that they're now really being corroborated and validated in a way through science itself. And what modern science has started to do is study what happens in our mind from a brainwave perspective when we start to quiet from that busy mind to a concentrated mind to meditative state of mind. And what they've actually discovered is there are dynamic slowing down and regulation of those brainwaves from our day-to-day alert beta brainwaves, shifting down through the concentrated state into alpha, and then eventually if we meet the meditative states we can drop even deeper into other brainwave states. And what they've discovered is that downgrading from the busy mind into the more quiet mind is that which elicits these states of peace. And so I really encourage you in the coming times when you feel overwhelmed by that loud inner chatter is just to take a minute or so, even that, to focus on your breath, to focus on those little portals at the top and the bottom of the breath, and to see how much it can quieten you into that all-encompassing vastness of total consciousness. So if you enjoyed this video, I heartily encourage you to check out the rest of Bindu Institute's videos. We share lots of nuggets of yogic wisdom, and really we're interested in where wisdom of yoga and science come together and meet. And if you want to deepen your yogic studies, then we have an upcoming 300-hour yoga teacher training. So we hope to see you very soon. Thank you for being here.